It's a beautiful night in the Northeast. You're looking live at the Empire State Building in Manhattan, and just across the Hudson River is the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and in the Meadowlands is located a Giant Stadium. Giant Stadium, where the Jets also play their home games, is sold out tonight. It'll be the New York Jets and the Los Angeles Raiders, two longtime adversaries in the American Football Conference. Hello again, everybody. I'm Frank Gifford. We are happy you are with us. I think everyone connected with football, and even if you're not, knows that history will be made tonight when, for the first time, a black man will walk the sidelines of an NFL game playing here in New Jersey tonight. And there he is, Art Shell, the first time in the modern era that we have had black head coach in the National Football League. You know a lot about Art Shell already. You're going to know more, and at halftime, Lynn Swann will take an in-depth look at this man. But this Hall of Famer will tell you very quietly but very firmly, and at 300 pounds he can be pretty firm, that he wants to be judged on his accomplishments, on his coaching record. And that record will begin tonight against a very young 1-3 Jets team, an injury-riddled Jets team. But meanwhile, Art Shell has got his own problems developing a winning team with the 1-3 Raiders team that, Al, when you talk to Al Davis, you get the history lesson, the pride and the poise and all that. But this is not a strong football team, and Art Shell has got his work cut out for him.
Frank, he should be coach of the year hands down if this team wins the AFC West, which is a relatively weak division. But Art Shell not only has to look forward to the tougher part of the schedule, he's got to figure out a way to get the defense to keep the opposition off the board. Offensively, they're in pretty good shape. You've got Jay Schrader and Willie Gault and Marcus Allen, and in a couple of weeks, Bo Jackson. But defensively, a lot of problems. They're last in the league against the rush. They've been moving linebackers in and out all season long. And now they have lost their best defensive player. Van McElroy is on injured reserve. So tonight, the Jets and the Raiders, and I know one thing, Dan, you're not going to get a lot of sympathy from the New York Jets for the Raiders because they have enough problems of their own.
Almost as many as Raiders have, Al, and they have not played very well this season. Something that really troubles Joe Walton and his staff, especially in their loss last week to the Colts. The Jets made mistakes, which they've been doing all year long, but for the first time, their coach was concerned that maybe the effort wasn't there. And if you know Joe Walton at all, you know that is unacceptable.
And so here we go as we end the fifth week of the 1989 season. Art Shell yet to finalize his deal, but he said that will be no problem. And Joe Walton, who had his deal extended at the end of the 1988 season, he is signed through 1991. At the Meadowlands, beautiful night. Temperature in the low 50s. And for the Raiders, Jeff Jager to kick off with Bobby Humphrey and JoJo Townsell back to receive for the Jets. And here we go from the Meadowlands as Townsell backs up, brings it out from a yard deep in the end zone, and is tackled out at the 23-yard line by Mike Harden, the former Denver Bronco. Ken O'Brien, who's been very erratic this season. The Jets 1-3. O'Brien with 6 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. And the rest of the offense, Freeman McNeil with Roger Vick are the running backs. We'll also see Johnny Hector. We'll watch Toon, who's been hurt. Harper, the other wideout. Briggs spells Schuler at the tight end spot, and the offensive line has been a source of trouble. From the 23-yard line, Freeman McNeil picks up about 2. Again, the Raiders last in the league against the rush. They're listed as a 3-4 team, though oft times Townsend will line up in a down position. But for the moment, it's Wise, Golick, and Scott Davis. And then the linebackers, Lyndon King. They got Jerry Robinson back last week. That'll really help them with Benson and Townsend. And there is the rebuilt secondary. Washington's been hampered by a hamstring pull. We'll keep an eye on him. Johnny Hector is in the game on 2nd and 8 as O'Brien retreats in his first pass of the night. A sideline pass taken by Toon. And Al Toon with a nice move. And again, we'll have to watch him, see how much he can play tonight. He was questionable, picks up the first down. Watch the move again.
Toon, of course, has that great speed. And here is Terry McDaniel, basically a rookie, even though he came up last year. He puts the drive on like he's going to take it upfield, spots the first down marker, is there to pick it up. Great receiver. There's no question about that. Came up with Jerry Rice and all the top receivers that came up in 1983.
Rice and Eddie Brown as well, all going in the first round. From the 35, wide open. open is Chris Burkett. The former Buffalo Bill has a first down, taking it to the 50-yard line. The last time we saw Burkett on a Monday night 3 weeks ago in Buffalo, he was being chewed out by Jim Kelly. Waived subsequent that week, and then picked up by the Jets, and figures to play a big role tonight.
And Joe Walton told us he did not want to waste any time in getting Burkett active in the Jets offense, and that is just another nice move. 2 separate occasions now early in this ball game, we've seen Raider defensive backs missing tackles, allowing Jet receivers to get extra yardage.
1st and 10, Jets from the 50 after back-to-back first downs with Toon in motion. O'Brien protected well again, shoots one out to Toon, and he is run out of bounds at the 47-yard line, and the crowd wants a penalty, but no flag. And now a late flag comes in.
A flag about as late as a flag could get. I'm not sure. Al, I don't think that was a flag thrown by one of the officials. No, that's a piece of cloth that came flying along the Raiders sideline. That was not a flag from the officials. That's a first down completion. Lionel Washington, the Raider in defense, and Al Toon, just a very short possession type catch. That is his specialty. He's not a deep guy. They like the way he runs after he catches a short ball.
On 2nd and 7, Rodgervik gets wrapped up. Scott Davis makes the initial contact, and Townsend finishes him off.
Well, Al, you talked earlier about how poorly the Los Angeles Raiders play the run. This may be a question of the movable object meeting the unmoving object, because the New York Jets don't rush the ball well at all. Here's a good example. They've had so many problems on their line, and that's Davis just working right upfield, right into the designed area of the play. Keep in mind, the Jets are averaging less than 90 yards a game rushing, only 87.5. It is tough to win in this league if you can't rush for somewhere around 125, 130 yards a game.
You saw Walton's initial reaction. Who missed the block? 3rd and 14. Going deep for McNeil, but incomplete. He'd gotten behind the linebacker Robinson as he moved down the sideline, and O'Brien overthrows him. So the Jets, after back-to-back first downs, will have to kick from near midfield.
He may have had a half a step on Jerry Robinson, but Freeman McNeil that time, by and large, covered fairly effectively by Jerry Robinson. That was a matchup the Jets might want, Frank, the one-on-one with a linebacker, but Robinson has great speed.
Robinson does have great speed, former running back in his scholastic years, and later an outside linebacker with tremendous speed. He stayed stride for stride with McNeil.
Joe Prokop to kick, and it's a short kick. Bouncing at the 26-yard line. It takes a great Jet bounce, though, and down at the 1. What a break for the Jets.
You think punters like artificial turf? Do you think they like this hard?
Art Shell making his debut. The funny thing about Shell is that he is the youngest coach in the league at the age of 42, taking over for the fired Mike Shanahan, who was by far the youngest at 37.
Well, at least he's getting closer to the pack. I guess Sam Weiss is next, what, at 44?
At 44.
He'll age quickly. They all do.
Jay Schrader leads the Raiders out of a hole from the 1-yard line, with Smith and Marcus Allen set in behind him. And it's a gain of 3 by Steve Smith as we check out that Raider offense. One thing they want to do now is go long to Willie Gault. With Allen and Smith, the running backs, Gault and Mervyn Fernandez off to a great start this year. They like Mike Dial, the young tight end. Graves has been stymied by a lot of holding calls earlier this season. Wisniewski is the rookie at right guard. Kirk spells Mosbar at center. Mosbar is inactive tonight. He's hurt. 2nd and 8 from just outside the 3. And Smith to the 7-yard line, setting up a 3rd and about 4. Kyle Clifton in on the tackle as we take a look now at the Jets defense. And up front, Fraze, Mercero, and the veteran Lyons at right end. Then the linebackers, Gordon's been bothered with a gimpy knee with Benson and Clifton in the middle, and Loggeman, their #1 draft choice. Humphrey and Hasty are the corners, Radachowski, and Eric McMillan, who's already intercepted 11 passes in just 17 games over a year and a quarter for the Jets, is the free safety. 3rd and 4. And it's Smith again. Turning the corner, picking up the first down, dropped by James Hasty out at the 14. So they give it to Smith 3 straight times, and it's a first down at the 14-yard line.
You're wondering who's calling the plays. Is Tom Walsh, the quarterback coach of the Raiders. And let's take a look at Marcus Allen, who's over the 10,000 yards picked up, rushing and passing. Good blocker, too. Just a good all-around athlete coming out of the backfield, gets in the way. And James Hasty comes up to make the stop, but Smith gets the first down. Now, if the Raiders want to throw the ball, they can also use Marcus Allen out of the backfield. Good receiver.
At the 14-yard line, first down. This is Marcus Allen. And he's out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Troy Benson running him out of bounds. What about Bo Jackson? Well, in Bo's contract, he gets a week off between baseball and football. This is that week. He goes into camp next Wednesday, could be activated for the Kansas City game, more likely a week from. But the question is now, will Marcus Allen continue to be Mr. Nice Guy and move to fullback?
He's really undersized at fullback, but then again, even undersized, he might be the best blocking back on the Raider team. So there's no question that Marcus Allen has sacrificed his own career for the betterment of Bo Jackson. You raise a good question, Al. Will he continue to do it?
Second down and a long 3 from the 20. And this is Smith. And he is close to a first down, short by a yard. Kyle Clifton is in on the tackle.
I know one thing for sure, Al and Frank. When we talked to Al Davis and Art Shell, we asked them, what do you want to accomplish here? And both of them were adamant, we want to return to the old Raider way. And the first thing they mentioned was power football. And we have certainly seen that so far here in the Raider offense coming out of their own end zone. The ball has been on the ground continuously. It has been nothing but power football up to this 3rd and short.
And now they come up in the eye for the first time on 3rd and 1. Allen looking like he was back at USC. Moves through the middle, but is stopped for no gain by Troy Benson in the middle.
Well, I don't think he's close. I don't think he's anywhere close to the first down.
No, definitely short. It's going to be 4th down.
Good defense by the New York Jets.
They've been strong against the rush all year long. It's against the pass where the Jets have been weak. And here's Allen trying to exploit a little hole over in the right side, but it was closed quickly by Benson. They'll bring the sticks out, but I don't think he made it.
No, that was excellent work by Troy Benson, number 54, coming in, putting the shoulder. No, they're going to come up short on this one. Although it was a good spot. It was a good spot, and there is Al Davis to the right of the post.
Very adamant about returning to what he terms Raider football, and Raider football is, as Dan said, power football, and just let it fly to the Cliff Branches and the Fred Bolitnikoffs, and of course today that would be Fernandez and Willie Galt. We'll see.
Jeff Gossett to kick.
And I think the Raiders left early, Al. They're going to have an illegal man downfield.
Flag down. This is Council. And he's dropped at the 31-yard line, and we'll get the call from Johnny Greer. And a footnote to this game, Johnny Greer was the first ever black referee in the NFL when he took over last year as a ref, several years as an official. And that is the call against the Raiders.
And keep in mind, Greer was scheduled to do this game long before the announcement of Art Shell. Don't try to make a story out of that. With the lack of a return by the New York Jets, you can be sure that they'll accept this penalty and make the Raiders kick again.
An eligible member of a kicking team downfield, number 39, still for 3rd down.
Steve Strahan was the man. So Gossett to kick it again with 8:20 to play in a scoreless opening quarter.
Jets have been, over the years, well disciplined on their special teams, and JoJo has been known to take it all the way back. And he'll get another shot at it. Up a little closer to midfield.
He's one of the great return men in the National Football League, both punt return and kickoff return. Kind of not very well known outside of the New York area, but one of the very best.
And this year seeing more action than ever as a wide receiver as well. Council from the 40 drops the football and covers up at the first 4 weeks for the Raiders. They gave up 171 against San Diego, 152 against Kansas City, 170 against Denver, and 160 on the ground last week to Seattle. So that's been the problem. Here they face the Jets, 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line, and Freeman McNeil for a gain of 7 out to the 49. He is stopped by the linebacker Jerry Robinson.
Doesn't matter what team you play for, the old counter gap is the counter gap. There's the New York Jets version of it. McNeil with the counter step. His 2 linemen from the offside, Haight and Criswell, come around, and a nice pickup on 1st down. Gives Kenny O'Brien a lot of latitude here on 2nd and 4.
You saw McNeil's career numbers. He has led the Jets in rushing in each of the last 8 seasons. On 2nd down, it would have been a first, and Burkett drops the football on the far side. So it'll be 3rd down and 3.
I think at this point, and the Jets offense under this man, Joe Walton, is a rather complicated one, particularly the passing game, that Burkett is still having a problem, and rather than just running a pass pattern and being familiar with it, he's having to think about every step he takes.
Except that time they gave him a rather simplified route over on the far side of the field.
We'll see most of that tonight. It'll be straight flies, a little hitch like this, or just a simple slant. But they won't change it on him either.
Well, he keeps it up, and he'll be watching someone else do that if he doesn't get a handle on the ball.
Out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 3. Raiders rush 4, but the Jets pick them up. And it's a 1st down at the 40-yard line as O'Brien threads it into the arms of Al Toon. So he's already made his 2nd catch. He is stopped by Eddie Anderson before giving up the football. 1st down New York at the 40.
Joe Walton calling the play, sending them in. Remarkable record Al Toon had going in the last week of having caught at least 3 passes in every career game for 52. And now you can see he's struggling out. I think probably that thigh muscle is hurting him once again.
He's got a strained quadricep, and you could see at that time when he caught the ball and tried to hold his ground, driven back, he hurt it a little bit.
Michael Harper, 84, in to replace him. That's Harper at the top of the screen from the 39. O'Brien after a long count. O'Brien lofting it for Burkett too far. He had gotten between McDaniel and Harden with 6:36 to go in a scoreless opening period. 2nd down and 10.
Chris Burkett is going to have to be a part of tonight's passing attack for the Jets, especially if Al Toon can't go. Again, a reminder that Mickey Schuler is out. Pretty decent coverage that time, and looked like a little indecision on Burkett's part. Al Toon has come back in. You see him splitting here to the near side, and this guy's going to have to stay healthy if the Jets, I think, are going to be effective in the air tonight.
2nd and 10. Toon in motion. Handoff to McNeil, who cuts it back inside. Nice move, and takes it to the 30-yard line.
McNeil with great acceleration. You saw it on that particular play. He can plant a foot and bring it back as good as any in the league. And of course, he's playing in the shadow of last week when he threw a block on Indianapolis's Austin O'Brien, and O'Brien later had knee surgery, and he's a very emotional man, is Freeman McNeil. He literally did not play much after that, took himself out of the game, and he was very upset about it. I'm sure he'd like to put on a good show tonight. Very capable of it, too.
Blew a couple of assignments in critical situations. 3rd down and 1. Hector to the left side. He's the short yardage man and picks up the 1st down. Stopped by Jerry Robinson at the 28, and the penalty marker is down. And there goes your 1st down. Joe Walton watching his team again make mistakes. It's been the story of the season thus far.
Holding, 43 offense. Still 3rd down.
That's Roger Vick, who was paired with Hector in the backfield, trying to lay down a block.
Vick that time was split out wide. And that is where it's really easy to get caught. When you're on the very end of the line of scrimmage, like Roger Vick was that time, trying to make a lead block, any movement with the arms at all outside the framework of the body is going to draw a flag.
Al Toon comes back in, and we'll get an idea how bad that leg is, whether or not they go to him. They'd like to go to him on this critical third down.
On 3rd down and 11, Toon straight down the middle. O'Brien looked there, but he was covered. Now he gets free and juggles and can't make the catch. Covered by Washington.
And Lionel Washington gets there at the last minute. Al Toon is going to go ahead and catch that ball, even though he bobbles it. And you're going to see Lionel Washington strip Al Toon's arm away and keep him from bringing it in. An excellent recovery by Lionel Washington.
And if he doesn't bobble it, it's a catch, and it could be all the way to the end zone, but he had to concentrate on bringing it down after he bobbled it. But a superb play by Lionel Washington, who is part of that beat-up secondary of the Raiders. He's playing with a sore hamstring.
Jets to punt from the Raider 40, Prokop. A fair catch is called for and made at the 17, and contact is also made. Bobby Joe Edmonds, the former Seahawk, who was waived by the Lions in training camp.
Billy Griggs, the tight end of the Jets, I think is saying I didn't see him, or else I was knocked into him by one of the Raiders. I think the latter is probably his argument, that I was knocked into him by one of the Raiders. But when you give the fair catch sign, you are afforded protection, and I don't think there's any excuses, at least not in the eyes of the officials. There is Griggs clearly making contact, and that's going to be a penalty.
Fair catch, interference, number 81, kicking team. First down.
I mean, you can see how that can happen, and you can have sympathy with the offending.
So the Raiders now take over at the 33-yard line. Their second possession. They've yet to throw a pass. 6 straight runs, and out of the air they go with Jay Schrader firing over the middle, and it is Galt making the catch at the 36-yard line. And that's one of the reasons that Art Shell is the coach. Al Davis adamant in his contention that Willie Galt has to be used more frequently, and they go right to him.
Well, the passing scheme used by Mike Shanahan at Denver really concentrated more on stuff underneath, across the middle, a lot of use to the tight ends and to the running backs. And the wide receivers have been more or less neglected, and that is Raider football, the vertical passing game to the wideouts. An excellent illustration of it there.
Out of the eye from the 37-yard line. Marcus Allen, and the hole closes in a hurry. It's Jeff Lageman, the rookie out of Virginia. Remember, on draft day, a lot of people were shocked the Jets made him number 1.
He is a large linebacker, 6'5", about 255. He signed late, missed a lot of training camp, played in the last couple of preseason games. Wasn't really challenged by a blocker that time, but right now Lageman's strength is not playing the run. He's really one of the Jets' better pass rushers, and they'll move him all over the field in a passing situation, trying to get him a lane to the quarterback.
Second down, call at 7 from the 34-yard line. Out of a split back set, Schrader gets protection and fires, and it's dropped by Mervin Fernandez. And that's not a good illustration there of what Fernandez has meant. He has really come into his own after several spectacular years in the Canadian Football League. Off to a good start this year, scoring a TD, as you can see, in every game.
Sure-handed receiver, and as you'll see, the ball was right in there. Jay Schrader has a very strong arm. He's going to love Raider football because he can really rip it. Maybe he doesn't have the best touch in the world, but this time he gets it right into Fernandez, who comes in as a leading Raider receiver tonight with 17 receptions, but averaging over 20 yards of reception.
On 3rd and 7 from the Jet 34 in this scoreless opening quarter. Schrader in trouble, sacked at the 36. It's only the 4th sack of the season for the Jets. Kyle Clifton is right there.
And the Raiders that time, who had 4 receivers downfield in the pattern, that was a case where it's a sack to the defensive line, but superb coverage by the Jets in their secondary. Jay Schrader looked to 1, looked to 2, and could find absolutely nothing. Now there's a veteran quarterback. Rather than scrambling from side to side, he steps up in the middle trying to buy some time.
Go back to the play before, the drop ball by Fernandez. Had he been able to hold on to that football, the Raiders would have been in field goal range.
And keep in mind that graphic you're seeing includes the sack we just saw. They had only 3 sacks coming into tonight's game. Nice quick update, guys. Quick update.
One of those teams was Miami, and nobody gets a sack there.
Jeff Gossett with Townsell back at the 10-yard line. Gossett figures to try to angle it. And it's a high kick coming to the near side, and he angles it as it bounces at the 14, takes a great Raider bounce, and is down at the 5. So earlier, the Jets pinned the Raiders deep, and Los Angeles were. Jets take over at the 5-yard line. Scoreless first quarter. Burkett comes in motion. As Kenny O'Brien hands the ball to Freeman McNeil, taking it out to the 9-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 6. Goldick in on the tackle. Funny thing about McNeil, he's been injured a lot through his career, and yet he has carried the ball over 100 times for the last 8 years, and he's averaged over 4 yards a rush in all of those years. So look at the company he keeps. Brown did it 9 times. OJ and McNeil tied at 8. Perry, Dorsett, and Anderson. I mean, that's the high rent district.
8 consecutive years he's been the leading rusher for these Jets. Doing something right.
2nd and 6 from the 9-yard line. A little misdirection play as Johnny Hector takes it out to the 11-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 5 with a little bit more than 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. Johnny Hector, 7th year out of Texas A&M. Each team again 1-3 coming in. The Jets with a win would be only a game out of first in the AFC East. Raiders would be 2 back of Denver in the West. 3rd and 5. O'Brien for Burkett makes the catch. First down at the 40-yard line. And he's down at the 41. Lionel Washington beaten on the coverage.
Well, Altoon is not in the lineup, so it has to fall on someone else's shoulders. Altoon comes back out, but on that long yardage situation, the guy that had to step up and get it done was Burkett.
Flooding backs to the left, and that put Burkett all alone. Lionel Washington again favoring perhaps a hamstring. He injured last week, and Burkett making sure, I think after that problem earlier, that he was making absolute certain that he got that ball and consequently lost the yardage after the catch.
1st and 10 from the 41. O'Brien going for Burkett again, nearly intercepted by the former Bronco Mike Harden. Let go by the Denver team in the second week of the season, picked up by the Raiders and starting tonight at safety.
That's an interception all the way if Burkett doesn't break it up.
I don't think O'Brien even saw the defender coming in, Mike Harden.
He's standing there waiting for the ball, Frank, and watch Burkett break it up. Burkett has to come in and strip the arms of Mike Harden, or that's a relatively easy interception for the Raider. Chris Burkett having to play both sides of the ball here tonight.
Second and 10, Jets from the 41-yard line. Toon in motion. And a little toss to Hector. And Hector with room, and Hector with a first down. Run out of bounds by Harden at the Raider 47-yard line.
It's like the Jets giving the Raiders a little dose of the power football that they opened up the game with, taking them by surprise with the student body pitch to the left, and Johnny Hector, who's really gained his reputation more than anything else, being a short yardage guy. That time showing he has a little speed to go to the sidelines and turn the corner. That's a pleasant change of pace, I'm sure, for a guy like Johnny Hector. Normally has to play slam-bam football.
Griggs in motion. Freeman McNeil looking for room to the outside. Gets inside the 45 and is down at the 41-yard line.
I saw a good reason why McNeil averages so much per carry. You hit him and he will always squirm and twist, and he seems to dive for at least another yard, yard and a half. And Altoon, once again, we saw him leave the game earlier, favoring that bruised quadricep muscle, and now he is in serious pain over the sidelines.
And you can see him not wanting to put his left foot down on the ground at all, and just an indication as to how badly Al Toon was hurt yesterday in nothing but a very brief and light walkthrough. Last evening here at the Meadowlands, Al Toon was in street clothes. He's going to try to block Lionel Washington there on the left, and without even making contact. It wasn't there. It wasn't when he fell. You could see Al Toon pull his leg up. He couldn't even put it down. I'd have to think that it's really going to be something if Toon plays any productive part in this game from here on out.
And they wind the clock down, and that is the end of the first quarter. A rapidly played period at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. End of one. Raiders. And back we come to start the second quarter, and the pass intended for Johnny Hector is out of his reach on what was a 2nd and 5 and is now a 3rd down and 5. With no scorers, we begin the second period. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf.
And O'Brien had a big gainer there, and a good angle that Hector had given him, and very uncharacteristic of O'Brien. No pressure on O'Brien, had all the time in the world to deliver it, and just missed it.
Yeah, Frankie almost threw the ball like he thought he was being blitzed, but there was no one near him at all. It almost looked like a blitz dump off the way he tossed it out there, when in fact he had plenty of time.
3rd and 5 from the 42-yard line as O'Brien sets up, fires, and it's broken up by Washington, and no flag. Michael Harper, the intended receiver. Great timing on the part of Washington.
And it's man coverage all the way that time by Lionel Washington. I mean, he is up in the bump and run, locked up in single coverage. He knows it's his responsibility.
And he likes this, Dan, because the Jets obviously are trying to isolate him tonight. They've done it before. This time they get him isolated again, and he makes a great play.
Prokop's kick, a fair catch is called for, and this time Edmonds lets it bounce, and it's downed by the Jets at the 13-yard line. So Art Shell making his debut, scoreless thus far, and that's how they used to do it very often, running to the left. Steve Smith, the ball carrier that time. The left side of that line was Shell and Upshaw, and when he first came into the league, Giamotto was the center, subsequently Dave Dolby.
Okay, the Raiders are 26-6-1. That's the best record of any team on Monday night, and it was Art Shell all through the 70s and into the 80s, and his career actually started in the 60s, 15 years of it. But some great games from the Raiders over the years.
2nd and 7, Los Angeles at the 16-yard line. Schrader, protection breaking down. He has to dump it off, and it's Marcus Allen who makes the catch at the 23-yard line. Kyle Clifton covering on the play. Nice improvisation by Allen that time, stopping and falling down and making the catch.
That is one of the ways you separate the men from the boys when it comes to throwing the football.
Well,
Can you deliver it from an awkward position? And there is Jay Schrader falling backwards in his own end zone, totally off balance, and can throw a 30-yard dart like that to Marcus Allen. There aren't a lot of quarterbacks, even in the National Football League, that have that kind of a cannon for an arm.
The best, perhaps, Randall Cunningham, but you saw a great move by Schrader to deliver that ball.
And a great catch out of an awkward position by Allen, who this time hurdles for a 1st down out to the 25-yard line. Again, just to pick up, and we started on Allen earlier, and there's a scuffle that breaks out right now. That's old Raider football, isn't it?
Yeah, except it was Lyle Alzado beating people with his helmet normally.
You know, it really is Raider football, though, and you notice how the Raiders, over the years, they've always tried to look after each other, and you talked to Howie Long about it, and he said, we just get the feeling somebody's going to cover for us. We make a mistake, we get in a fight, somebody else is going to be there, and here's the guy that preaches it. He has from the day he arrived back in the early 60s, when he also arrived as the head coach. As Howie's been seeing limited duty because of an injured ankle most of the year, and only in on the pass defense tonight.
On 1st down, here's Allen. And Allen is stopped at the 25-yard line. Marcus held out, just to pick up what we started before. He held out. He didn't report until the end of training camp. He's always been the warrior, the guy who has done everything that's been asked of him, and finally, and he said it publicly to this point, I don't know how much longer I can be a nice guy. And when Bo Jackson comes in, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Allen's contract is up at the end of the year.
Really, what's unfortunate for Marcus is that he's at the stage of his career where being a nice guy counts for something. I mean, he's 29 years old. He'll be 30 by the beginning of next football season. And I don't know if he's really in a position to really make a real strong demand.
He says he's not ready to be a role player. And the pass intended for Willie Gault. Schrader pressured that time. Alex Gordon came charging in to force the issue.
Raiders could have a lot of fun if they were to pick up Herschel Walker. Just throw him in the pot and stir that around a little bit. Herschel apparently saying that he would go to the West Coast. His preference being here in New York with the Giants.
They might like him on the West Coast of the Mississippi River up in Minnesota.
He used to play right here with the New Jersey Generals.
Well, I guess he claims that Donald Trump is one of his very best friends. I don't know that that's really going to excite Wellington Mara a great deal.
Or the National Football League. He could help build Trump City.
3rd and 10. Schrader out of the gun, fires out to the 38-yard line. Gault on the crossing pattern has the first down.
Well, there is another Raider pass because a crossing pattern takes a long time to set up. Excellent protection that time by the Raider offensive line because crossing patterns take an inordinate amount of time. And look at Willie Gault coming all the way across the formation. The great lines of the Raiders were so good at forming that pocket and allowing the Blandas and the LaMonicas and the Stablers of the world at time to complete those timely patterns that take an extra second.
From the 38-yard line, Marcus Allen goes nowhere. Stopped by Troy Benson, who pushes him back. We have 10:45 to go in the first half. No score.
Remember Benson's big hit in the first quarter, keeping Marcus Allen from picking up a first down. That time he comes in again. Fourth-year player out of Pittsburgh is off to a good start here tonight.
He was out a couple of weeks with a bad ankle. That team has really been hampered by injuries here in the early going of the season.
Loss of 1, second down, 11. Schrader for a wide open Allen, makes a nice move initially, but then Humphrey stays right with him to bring him down by the ankle at the 44. He's about 4 yards short of the first down with a third. Third down and 4. Schrader going deep, but Gault broke the pattern off, and it's incomplete, but there's a flag down back at the 40-yard line. Gault had stopped and started to move toward the middle, and the pass was thrown well downfield, and the call is against the Jets for holding.
I think when Gault tried to break it back in the middle, he obviously had different bells ringing than did Schrader. But when he tried to break it back, he was held, even though the ball was overthrown.
48 defense.
Bobby Humphrey. Bobby Humphrey was playing Gault man for man, and that ball
I don't know.
Well overthrown. I don't know how you call that.
How the Raiders going to get any luckier than this? Yeah. Because Willie Gault's going to break to the inside.
Ball's in the air at this point.
Oh, come on. Yeah. That's a horrendous call, and you can hear the reaction of the Jet fans in the stands as it's shown on the video board. I mean, Willie Gault initiated that move to the inside. You can only assume the official thought that Bobby Humphrey took his right arm and forced Gault to the inside. There's a gift for the Los Angeles Raiders. Bad call.
Big present instead of punting. It's a first down from the 48-yard line and enables Schrader to go deep for Gault, and he makes the catch out of bounds at the 7. Got by Hasty, had just 1 foot down, and the Raiders come that close to a 1st and goal.
There's an understatement saying he got by Hasty. He is 5 yards past James Hasty, who's struggling to get back into the play. And this is Willie Gault having to back up on the ball, and there's really nothing Gault could have done to keep his feet in bounds, clearly out of bounds, and the ball from Schrader just floated a little more to the sidelines than he wanted it to.
Give you an idea of Gall's speed, too. He did a square out and down on that pattern. Schrader set up, and he can really throw the football, but he could not get that ball into a lead pattern in front of Gall with that great speed.
2nd and 10. 10th play of the drive. Allen wide open and dropped it. Started to look upfield at the 40-yard line.
Now this is an opportunity for Jay Schrader, I think, to really present himself in the huddle as the leader of this team and say, guys, settle down. You're killing us. Let's settle down and play some football.
Out of the gun on 3rd down and 10, and a flag is down. The flag was down before the inception of the play.
That's normally some sort of a false start on the offense. I think someone on the far side of the formation moved. I don't know if it was a tight end or...
False start, 60 offense. Still 3rd down.
Rory Graves, who could be the most penalized player in the league at this point this season.
Yeah, Roy Graves is the left tackle. Here he is right here. Watch him rock back before the snap of the ball.
While we're looking at that, Dan,
the whole line
is supposed to be lined up at least a foot from the ball.
Yes, you are. You're supposed to crowd the ball. You're not supposed to be as far back, Frank, as the officials are giving them the leeway. And I'm going to tell you on that last one, rather than give Graves the penalty, I think Dan Turk was late in snapping the ball. The whole line moved.
3rd down and 15, and Schrader gets stumped. It is a live football at the 40-yard line.
And Schrader looks hurt. He is flat on his back.
Dennis Byrd.
Jay Schrader has not moved and does not give any indication that he's going to shortly.
Byrd was the man who hit him. The Raiders recovered the fumble, but the problem right now is Jay Schrader, who was hurt. Opening day, Steve Berline had to come in.
I think you have to hope that that is the wind knocked out of Jay Schrader. He wasn't hit square on by Byrd, number 90, the rookie, but his forearm and his arm caught Jay Schrader right in the gut, and I think it just had the wind knocked out of him. As a matter of fact, he's up on his feet now. But you think you're going to die, don't you, Dan?
Oh, you sure do. Although I've never been picked up. I've never been picked up and slammed like that. Watch Byrd. He's to the near side here. He's going to beat Bruce Wilkerson, the right tackle, just badly overmatched on the play with Byrd's upfield speed. Now, one of the things that helped Schrader there a great deal is that he saw Byrd coming the whole way. And give Jay some credit. He held the ball to the last minute trying to make something happen, and knowing he was going to take a hit.
Give Steve Wisniewski the credit for recovering the fumble, and here's a poor kick off the foot of Gossett. Townsell fields at the 24-yard line and then gets buried by Vance Mueller, and 2 markers are down.
Yeah, that was a super play by Townsell. Even though he didn't get any yardage out of it, that ball would have gone down to within the 5-yard line, and he timed that bounce beautifully. Couldn't come up and fair catch it. It was too low, and he played it beautifully.
Frank, that's one of the subtleties of the game that we're seeing slip away a little bit. A lot of mishandled punts. A lot of times yardage is lost to a team because, just of your point there, they don't handle the ball. They don't realize what a bounce it could take and where it could put you offensively starting to start a drive. Excellent work that time by JoJo Townsell, saving his club some yardage.
Illegal block on the run back. Number 46. 1st down.
So much for that yardage, though. The officials are going to take it away.
Michael Mitchell is the man. There's Schrader back on the Raider bench. The Jets have the... At the 10-yard line, the Jets take over. And Ken O'Brien off the play fake. Lofting one too deep, intended for Burkett. He was covered by Terry McDaniel.
He was covered well by Terry McDaniel. That would have had to have been a perfect pass by O'Brien, as it was just off the fingertips. Good coverage, McDaniel.
Looking down into Giants Stadium, decked out in green for the Jets tonight. Aaron Jenkins of the Goodyear Blimp America providing the shot from high above.
Those are Teflon end zones.
Yeah, right.
They pull it up when the Giants come. It says all of a sudden Giants.
And they've draped the one-time blue walls with green bunting to give it a further Jets flavor. This is Roger Vick. Gain of 3. 3rd down and 7 as O'Brien shoots one out to Griggs, the tight end, and a 1st down as he's finally chased down by Lyndon King. So they convert a 3rd and 7.
Kenny O'Brien, he takes a lot of sacks in his career. Fine young quarterback, led the NFL in passing a few years ago and is the Travelers Man of the Year for the New York Jets. Every team, of course, has one, a young man, and there are a lot of them. You hear less about them than you do hear about all the problems, but Kenny O'Brien is one of them, gets very actively involved in the community in many ways, and of course the Travelers Man of the Year for the year will be announced at the Super Bowl.
Kind of an odd year for O'Brien. I want to talk about after this play, something out of the ordinary for him.
1st and 10 with Burkett in motion from the 30-yard line. Johnny Hector to the outside, and a great tackle by a flying Terry McDaniel out of the University of Tennessee. Frank mentioning breaking his leg last year in the second game, so in effect he's still a rookie.
Boy, what a tremendous game he's having so far. Some fine one-on-one coverages and some good supports on the run. This is where you don't get a chance to come up and wrap up. You're in essence throwing a block, and that's what Terry McDaniel is going to do here on Johnny Hector as he tries to get to the outside, get into the lead leg and get into it far enough to kick it out from under. The first rookie, keep in mind, since Jack Tatum to start in the Raiders secondary, Terry McDaniel.
False start, 61 offense.
This is what Joe was talking about after last week. Mental mistakes just blew them away against Indianapolis, particularly in the second half after the Jets had led 10-0 last week. They just made one mental mistake after another one, and that'll drive a coach crazy, and it'll certainly drive this one nuts because he expects that total mental concentration.
That was Jeff Criswell, the left tackle that got flagged last time.
Makes it 2nd and 14 from the 26-yard line as O'Brien shoots one out on the screen to Freeman McNeil, and he's upended out at the 33-yard line. 3rd and 7.
I want to finish my point I was going to make about Kenny O'Brien, about what an odd year this is. You saw that graphic we put up earlier that said he had 90 touchdown passes versus 57 interceptions. This is kind of an awkward start for Kenny O'Brien. The way it stands right now, he's got more interceptions than touchdowns, something very, very rare for Ken O'Brien. One of the most accurate and conservative quarterbacks in the game. He doesn't force it in there and doesn't take the interception. He's got 7 interceptions already this season. Very unusual for this guy.
That's all he had all of last year, 7.
Flip side of not throwing a lot of interceptions is taking a lot of sacks, which he's done in his career. 3rd and 7. A flag is down. McNeil gets it to the Raider 49-yard line, but there's a marker down near the line of scrimmage.
I think that was Howie Long who got a head start trying to rush the passer. Howie Long, who's going to try to play in obvious passing situations tonight. That time jumped the gun.
Offside, 75 defense, it's declined. First down.
There's no question Howie Long, this is Howie up here in the corner. He's on his way. He's going to try to get the jump. He's going to try to get every advantage he can, and he was clearly across the ball. For his efforts, he draws a double team block. But really the penalty doesn't come into play here at all as Freeman McNeil holds onto the ball and picks up a Jet first down. A guy who has had a tough couple of years, Howie Long, at one time one of the most dominating defensive linemen in the league, is finding it tough to play these days.
1st and 10 from the 49, and O'Brien takes the sack at the 44-yard line. Bob Golick, longtime Brown, picked up by the Raiders, gets the sack of O'Brien.
That's just good coverage over in the right side. Kenny O'Brien had nowhere to put that football, and let's take a look at Bob Golick, a Pro Bowler with the Cleveland Browns, one of those Plan B players that the Raiders picked up, and there you could see that O'Brien had to pull it down. Mike Harden covering Hector coming out of the backfield, brother Vic coming out of the backfield, and O'Brien had nothing to do with it.
One of the great guys in the National Football League, Bob Golick, who can go on at length about the dehumanization of a player who's forced to play nose tackle.
2nd and 18, and O'Brien swings it out to McNeil, and McNeil cuts it back and takes it into LA territory and is dropped at the 47-yard line by Mike Harden as the clock ticks down to 4:30.
Risky pass that time by Kenny O'Brien. That's a lateral. That ball was behind the line of scrimmage, and it was thrown backwards to Freeman McNeil. It looked easy, but if McNeil for some reason has trouble handling that ball, if it ends up on the ground, that's a live football.
Good play by Sweeney, the offensive center, getting out there to give extra yardage. But here it is. This one is a tough pass, not only to throw but to handle for McNeil. But he turns upfield, gets a block by Sweeney, the center. gets additional yardage, but still leaves the Jets with a 3rd down and long.
3rd and 8 from the 46-yard line out of the shotgun. O'Brien rolling and throwing, and it's busted up at the 41-yard line, intended for Hector and Lyndon King, longtime Charger linebacker, now with L.A., batting it away.
Saved the 1st down, did Lyndon King. Lyndon King is a big linebacker, 6'4", 6'5", and he used every bit of it to keep the Jets from picking up that 1st down. Here he is, watch number 52. O'Brien delivers the ball, and there's King, just with the outstretched fingers, and keeps it from going into the arms of Hector.
What was Lyndon King doing? Selling paint in Hawaii?
Yeah, they released him and then brought him back. Prokop's kick is a little floater.
We've seen some lame punting here tonight, haven't we?
Terrible looking thing. And out of bounds, that one goes at about the 25-yard line with 3:39. 19-yard boot. Take a look at those on the Jets sideline.
He missed it.
Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, scoreless 1st half at Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. The LA Raiders have the ball at the 27-yard line as they begin this drive, and Kerry Porter is in the game along with Marcus Allen in the backfield. Porter, the fullback, 220-pounder out of Washington State, and he leads the way from Marcus Allen. Allen up to the 31. We were talking about the Raiders and where they will be. They eventually may wind up back in Oakland, but not this weekend. Something tells me that stadium is booked.
Yeah, do you think
Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, the Raiders situation in Oakland might be on the back burner until the end of the World Series, as a holding call gets assessed against the Los Angeles Raiders. This will make it a 1st and 20.
On 1st down, a good move by Mueller to break free and stretching to try to pick up the 1st down. He's just short. Stopped by Hasty. It'll be 2nd and 1.
You know, we talked about Will Clark. I don't know that his series, though, was any better than the one Ricky Henderson had for the A's.
It's a great matchup. You know, it's the first time I can remember in a while where both teams have enough rest so the managers can set their rotations exactly the way they'd like them to. Sometimes when the playoffs go down to the end, you wind up using your ace in the 7th game to try to get to the series, and you begin with the 2nd or 3rd pitcher. But
Cubbies hung in there, though.
And if this game was 21-17, we'd have tabled the World Series talk till the 2nd half. But at 0-0, we'll talk about it now. You know, Art
the over doesn't look too good tonight, does it?
No. You know, one thing I wanted to say about Art, talking to Al Davis last night, he brought up a great point. I was talking about, you know, the fact that Art's only been an assistant now going into his 6th year before he was named head coach. And Al said, you know, the way it is now, I'm not so sure that the head coach has to be your #1 X's and O guy. That really it's leadership you're looking for, it's the ability to administrate, and it is having the wherewithal about you to project an image. There's no question Art Shell is not going to be the lead X's and O's guy on the Raiders staff. But if it's properly delegated to his assistants, and if he has that intangible, that ability to lead, that ability to excite a player, that ability to make players want to play for him and win for him, then he'll be an effective head coach, and he'll grow into the X's and O's part of it. Al Davis may have a great point.
2nd and 1 from the 37-yard line. Schrader. Well, what would have been a free play winds up as a sack by Paul Fraze. So there you've got a 2nd and 1, and you would think a free play, and the next thing you know, you're 3rd down and long again.
Yeah, that's not thinking too fast on the part of Schrader, I wouldn't think, because he could have dumped that ball off and had a 3rd down and 1. As it was, the good coverage on the part of that Jet secondary. And as always, you'll see the defensive player trying to rip it out of the hands.
Of course, that play was over about 2 steps back, because remember, it's grasp and control. That play is over long before he hits the ground, but go ahead.
Third down and a short 7 from the 31-yard line with 2 minutes to play. Schrader over the middle, and it's broken up, intended for Mueller, and Radachowski got a hand in on the play. Gossett with a wobbly line drive. Townsell from the 35-yard line. And JoJo can't spring clear. He is dropped at the 39. Jets have all of their timeouts. We get a little scuffle that breaks out, and the punter is in the middle of it. Gossett.
Two punters fighting. That'd be like a baseball fight. That'd be like emptying the dugout.
Well, the Raiders could sure use that man. Tim Brown, the great return specialist and wide receiver, Heisman Trophy winner out of Notre Dame. Knee injury opening day. Surgery. Conceivably could come back at the end of the year. Raiders and the Jets scoreless. New York from the 40 on 1st and 10. And O'Brien throws to Townsell, who makes the catch on his knees at the 47. Again, the Jets have all of their timeouts left.
That's a soften up kind of a pass route there. Just that little curl trying to tighten up a corner. Interesting to see if they go long with Townsell.
2nd and 3, and they're going long down the far side, and it is picked off by Terry McDaniel. And from the goal line, McDaniel bringing it back out, chased by Griggs, chased by Townsell, chased by McNeil, and a run out of bounds at the 20-yard line on a pass intended for Townsell or Burkett on 2nd down and 3.
Oh, what a night McDaniel is having. They have stayed away from him most of the night, but he has been involved in some key plays, and this is stride for stride against Burkett. And he has read this one all the way. The ball is in the air at this point. Played it beautifully. And what we learned not too long ago, a couple of games ago, had he not brought it out of the end zone, they would have marked it right there where he intercepted the ball.
Again, though, I have to question Kenny O'Brien throwing that. He badly overthrew Burkett earlier in this half, and remember, he broke up what would have been an interception that Mike Harden would have had.
Couldn't get to that one.
And this time, you're right, he threw it so far his receiver couldn't get there in time to break up the interception again. So some overthrown balls tonight here in the first half by Ken O'Brien. This one hurt.
From the 20-yard line, Prater throws, and it's dropped by Mueller. So we have 1 minute and 8 seconds. Scoreless first half. The Jets, of course, coming in had the worst pass defense in the league. The Raiders had the worst run defense in the league, which was part of the reason the over and under on this game was 45. And there has not been a scoreless first half in 69 games thus far this season.
They saved it for us. And again, there's a good look there at Terry McDaniel, who has really been playing sensational football, and so has Jay Schrader. He can't get anyone to catch it. You can't fault the way Schrader has thrown here in half number 1.
2nd and 10. Over the middle, Marcus Allen is open. He has a first down out at the 34-yard line. Again, the Raiders have all of their timeouts.
You can see Marcus looked that into his hands. He dropped one a short while ago. This one, he watched right into his hand until he could read Pete Rozelle across that ball.
From the 34-yard line. And the catch is made after a juggling effort by Mike Alexander out of Penn State. Good-looking young receiver. And now the Raiders take their first timeout with 42 seconds to play.
It is tough for a head coach to depart his team without, I guess, some players in some shape, manner, or form making comments that some people could interpret as derogatory. Even Bill Walsh found out, leaving the 49ers after winning a Super Bowl. And that's Howie Long's feelings on Mike Shanahan, who really, if you talk to anyone around this league, has a solid gold reputation. It just did not work out in L.A.
1st and 10 from the 46-yard line, and Schrader ducking and darting and releasing and then throwing, and it's no good. He's out of bounds is Mervin Fernandez. It'll be 2nd and 10. You know, one of the things about Mike Shanahan, he knew what Al Davis was saying. Davis brought him in to supplement and to augment the Raider philosophy, but in effect, at least in talking to the Raider people this week, what Shanahan did was basically ignore Al Davis. And the one thing you can't do is ignore Al Davis.
I guess promises were made that the system would not be changed in its basic philosophy. And whether Mike Shanahan did or did not is something we don't know. But Al Davis certainly thought that he did. And in this case, only his opinion mattered. And that was more or less the main reason why Mike Shanahan's no longer coaching the Raiders.
2nd and 10, and over the middle, it's Marcus Allen, and he's belted at the 45-yard line, just short of the first down, and the Raiders, with the clock running, take a second timeout.
Do not think that just because one is large and one played on the offensive line, that one cannot be intelligent and articulate, because Art Shell is both of the above.
Well, he proves it, but what about...
well, 1 out of 2 is not bad.
Right.
1 out of 2 ain't bad, is it?
3rd down and a short 2 from the 45. And Mueller picks up the first down at the 39-yard line. That's an interesting play because they're down to their last timeout, and they're not going to use it here. They are not really in field goal range. And what's going on here is they let the clock run down to 7 seconds, and they throw to the far side. The catch is made at the 35. Willie Gault down to 3 seconds.
Yeah. No, that was not how you draw it up. If you're going to take the chance and run the ball, which is not a bad call. It's not a bad call. The Jets are in a situation where they only have 3 men up on the line of scrimmage. You can go ahead and break a big run. You see it all the time. But you have to be prepared that at the conclusion of that run, you've got to take your timeout. You've got to take it instantly and stop the clock.
Sure.
Now they go to the locker room with a timeout that they've got in the bank, and it does absolutely no good whatsoever.
Now you've got a 52-yard field goal attempt. Jager's longest, as you see, is 48. Gossett to hold on what will be the final play of the first half. And the kick is short, and that's the way the half will end.
That's really Jay Schrader's responsibility, I would think, in that situation, to call the timeout. It's always up to the quarterback to be the guy that knows the clock and when to call a timeout. And right there, the Raiders could have had one more play.
So in this, the 70th game of the NFL season through 5 weeks, it's the first time the teams have departed. The second half, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. No score. Third quarter is underway. Pat Leahy to kick off for the Jets, and it's fielded at the 1-yard line by Timmy Ware, and the one-time Charger brings it back out to the 42-yard line. So it's Timmy Ware handling the ball for the first time tonight, who injects some life as Leander Knight makes the tackle for New York.
Well, there's a flag
down.
Yeah. All the way back at the 15-yard line, and this is going to be some infraction, illegal use of the hands or something against the Raiders. So, boy, a golden opportunity goes by the wayside. They're going to be cleared back inside their 10-yard line.
Illegal block, number 92, on the return. First down.
Emmanuel King is the man.
And this is a huge loss. We're talking about a 33-yard loss, and there it is, clear as a bell, right in the middle of your screen. King with the hands flat on the back. Michael Harper was the Jet that got pushed, and a 33-yard infraction.
Moves them back to the 7-yard line, and it's Smith getting them out of the hole as he takes it out to the 26. So Smith, who played a big part early in the game when the Raiders were pinned at their own 1, and then was silent for the rest of the half, brings them out from the shadow of the goal line. A first down out at the 27-yard line. Tony Dorsett is at the Meadowlands tonight. In fact, up in the booth, and we'll be visiting with TD shortly. Find out his status. Tony, of course, injured and not playing this season for the Broncos. We'll get up to date shortly. From the 27-yard line, Schrader back to throw. Fires. The catch is made by Fernandez. Breaks the tackle, gets into Jet territory. Inside the 30, he's got a blocker. He's inside the 15. Touchdown, Fernandez. And no flag, 73 yards.
Willie Gault out in front of that one with a key block for Hernandez. And safe to say, the wide receivers are back in the Raider game plan. Hernandez did a lot of that on his own, but again, it's the typical old-time Raider deep pattern. You protect your quarterback, take it upfield, and let the clip branches of Fred Biletnikoffs, and now the Mervin Fernandez make the big play for you.
So Fernandez with a touchdown catch in every game this season, plus the final game last year. Jeff Jaeger's extra point is good, and so the first touchdown of the Art Shell era is a bomb. 73 yards to Mervin Fernandez.
A lot of nifty moves after the catch. He curls back to the inside. There's the missed tackle by Bobby Humphrey. That's what really breaks it open. And then Eric McMillan, the free safety who was there, only got an arm on Fernandez. And then it's just really with that much open field, for a guy with that kind of speed, it's not that difficult to find the...
.103 gone in the third quarter, and the Raiders on top 7-0. As Jeff Jaeger gets set to kick off. Crowd is responding. They're batting around an inflatable doll.
And it's not Gumby.
No, we can't show it to you. You can only see it on the American Ecstasy channel. Jaeger to put it in the air. And the kick is taken at the 11-yard line by Humphrey, who comes back this way and gets tackled at the 4-yard line by Steve Strahan.
Go back to the touchdown pass that Schrader threw to Mervin Fernandez. Look what happens up in the line. Look at the face mask there. That's Rory Graves, who has hooked the face mask of Marty Lyons, and it went undetected mercifully for this guy, Rory Graves, who twice this year has had 3 holding calls in games. Twice. There's Marty Lyons, who got his face mask hooked on that play, and nonetheless, it was a Raider touchdown and has given them a 7-0 lead.
From the 3-yard line, they give it to the up back, and this is Vick who takes it out to the 11-yard line. And we mentioned as the Jets try to move out from the shadow of their own end zone, that Tony Dorsett is here, and TD is with us. And Tony, of course, everybody knows you had surgery, you're out for the season, but what about the future for you?
Well, you know, the thing I'm trying to do, Al, of course, first of all, is trying to get the knee back as healthy as I can, then make decisions later.
How you feeling right now?
Feel good, extremely good.
Tony, is the knee such that when it happened, you've been hurt before? Do you think it's something that you'll be able to come back from? Do you think you have a chance?
I think it's going to be tough, Dan. It's a situation, of course, I had reconstruction of my anterior cruciate, and at age 35, you know, the odds are against me, but they're not insurmountable odds, but it feels good. Every 2 days, I feel an improvement in the knee.
Tony's got a book out, Running Tough, Memories of a Football Maverick. Were you really a Maverick, Tony? Come on.
That's tall, man.
Well, that's Texas
Not
talk.
Not really.
That's Texas talk. There are a lot of Mavericks down in Texas. How about the running tough part of it, though? You have so many records on Monday Night Football. Did it mean that much more to you, Tony?
Well, Monday Night Football, you know, you had the audience of America, so every time I was on Monday Night Football, I tried to capture the moment and do something special.
Johnny Hector picks up the first number. Well, that was a bizarre play in which he got hurt in practice this year, but
you know, the Cowboys only had 10 men on the field for that play. You were aware of that, I guess, Tony?
I wasn't at the time. Actually, I thought we had 11 men on the field. Ron Springs was supposed to have been in there, but for some reason he wasn't there.
Reggie McElroy with a false start here.
Yeah, Reggie got a quick
False start. 68 offense. Still first down.
Tony, I started to mention a crazy play in which you get hurt this year, the injury in practice.
Yeah, that's what makes it even so frustrating. You know, we're just in a non-contact drill, and I'm running the pass pattern, making that. I've made that cut a zillion times over my career, and I go to plant, and it doesn't plant, and the knee gives way.
Tony, a historic moment here tonight with Art Shell making his debut as the Raiders coach. Your thoughts on a black coach, finally a head coach in the NFL?
Well, you know, I think it's a step in the right direction, and I'm hoping, just like all the other coaches in the National Football League, he's judged on his coaching abilities and his won and loss record, and not the color of his skin.
Would you ever consider coaching yourself, Tony?
I don't think I'm cut out to be a coach. I think with so many different personalities that are in football today, I don't think I had the patience to really put up with it.
You want to keep that headset on as a full-time job?
I love to do that.
We knew why you guys. Time for Tony to leave now.
TD, great seeing you.
It was good visiting with you.
Good luck with the book, too. Running Tough, Tony Dorsett.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. TD.
The Jets from the 15-yard line. It's 2nd down and 9, and O'Brien slings one to the near side, and it is incomplete, intended for Townsend, covered by Lionel Washington. 3rd down coming.
Seems some good corner coverage tonight by the Raiders. Terry McDaniel on the one side, Lionel Washington on the other. Getting locked up tonight in a lot of man coverage, starting out in the old Raider fashion, bump and run up at the line. And they are playing good defensive football.
And they've had to be real good. Again, they are minus Van McElroy, the free safety, who's on injured reserve. They throw underneath, and this time Townsell makes the catch and has the first down. He's tackled by Terry McDaniel. So on 3rd and long, they pick it up. Also, we've got to know, talking about the Raiders secondary, of course, the year began on such a tragic note for the Raiders. Their strong safety, Stacy Turan, killed on a Saturday night near his home in Marina Del Rey in an automobile accident.
And again, what made it even more tragic, Al, is that alcohol was involved, and Stacy was inebriated at the time of the accident, and I guess a sobering reminder to all of us about drinking and driving. But as you said, a loss to the Raiders that's difficult for them to overcome now with McElroy out as well. Both of their projected starting safeties not in games.
And Russell Carter, who had replaced Coran, also out.
A one-time Jet, and nobody's within 25 yards of that.
And that's Burkett, and we talked earlier about the little time he's had to work with Kenny O'Brien, the complexities of the Jets' offensive scheme of things, particularly as it's related to the pass. And again, the drums were rolling wrong for Burkett. I'm quite sure he's going to have a quick chat.
I don't know if the NFL charts these kind of records, but this may be the farthest away from anyone on your own team a ball has ever landed. This was a good 30 yards away from Chris Burkett, who was the closest Jet.
Steve Hurd checked it out. It's 32.
32, yeah, in 1957.
2nd and 10. And the catch is made by Griggs, the tight end, the man who is spelling the injured Schuler, and a first down for the Jets at the 48-yard line. And Hundley, who was just picked up from Phoenix recently, is going to get a penalty that will tack on another 15.
That's just not smart.
And a little tacky to begin with, right out in the open field where you know you're going to get picked up on the flag.
Well, Griggs kind of started it, and then he flipped the ball to Hundley. But, you know, that is a subtle way of taunting a player. Oh, they're going to call it. They're going to call Griggs for flipping the ball to Hundley to begin with. Well, there's a way to shuffle it off to Buffalo, so to speak. Now watch Billy Griggs when he goes down. Okay. He knows that he's down on the ground. When he gets up, he's going to flip it up to Ricky Hundley.
And this is taunting in a way, but I mean, actually, it was Hundley who precipitated it with that little push.
Meanwhile, here's Hector taking it to the 46-yard line for a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Well, it goes down in the books as offsetting penalties. Frankly, it probably shouldn't have been a penalty on either player. This is somewhat of an emotional game. You would hope it's played emotionally, and more or less a reflex action by Hundley as he flipped it back to Griggs.
But isn't he a typical Raider, though? He had problems early in his career, has been troubled at Denver, and now he comes in as a free agent. One of 19 the Raiders have on their roster.
2nd down and 6 from the 45-yard line. And McNeil gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Well, the Raiders have been noted for that, taking guys that nobody else wants. And a lot of them have had second careers, but
well,
Mike Dickey, you see Mike's comment the other day about, hey, you know, I've heard enough about these guys being brought back from wherever. And Al Davis said yesterday, I'm going to let Mike off the hook with that comment because I don't know what time of day he uttered it.
Well, I think Mike Ditka was probably responding to the Raiders and their picking up Otis Wilson,
and
Mike Richardson.
Mike Shanahan, too. Ditka being a very good friend of Mike Shanahan. There's a lot of harsh things being said about people around the NFL.
3rd down and 6. And O'Brien for Townsell, who makes a great catch at the 20-yard line. The coverage by Lionel Washington. And Townsell back to the goal line, making the catch at the 20.
Some effort by JoJo Townsell. We talked about his return capabilities, and again, Kenny O'Brien right on target with the ball, but falling over backwards, doesn't get a chance to get any sort of a leap. And again, the coverage by Lionel Washington was pretty solid. That's a nice effort that time by Townsell, and now the Jets, after the Raiders scored to go up 7-0, making a bit of their own here.
New York's deepest penetration of the night. Drive starting at their own 3-yard line. O'Brien fakes and throws, and it's nearly picked off by Anderson. Burkett, the intended receiver, and Eddie Anderson nearly picked it.
Oh, and it should have been picked off by Eddie Anderson. Again, very uncharacteristic of Kenny O'Brien. He just does not give up the interceptions, and this is one that should have been. If he throws it a little earlier, it's a touchdown. Easy. Or leaves it out front, it's a touchdown. As it was, he put it up there where Anderson should have had it easily. Yeah, you could see there how Burkett had to wait for the ball. He almost had to come to a complete stop in making his break to the corner. If it's thrown either a second earlier or 2 or 3 yards farther out front, that's an easy Jet touchdown.
2nd and 10 from the 20. 13th play of the drive. O'Brien shoots out to the right and then hits Roger Vick, who takes it to the 8-yard line. 1st and goal.
A hopping Roger Vick. Hits it and get along. What a piece of awareness by Roger Vick, who's going to feel a Raider defender. I think it's Scott Davis, number 70, who's going to come flying in. I think he's going to feel Davis coming in. I think from screen right. Let's see if we can. Yeah, there comes Davis. Whoop, up into the air. Boy, and Davis, who's really in a position to make the tackle, all of a sudden had a leg and it wasn't there anymore.
Danny and the junior should narrate that video.
It was good enough to a little hop to get the first down. At the hop.
At the 8, 1st and goal. Townsell, the man in motion. A little quick toss out to McNeil. And Freeman McNeil to the 1-yard line. Stopped by Eddie Anderson. So the Jets trying to tie it up with 6 minutes to play. 3rd quarter.
McElroy and Alexander out front on that one, stringing some key blocks at the perimeter. And Freeman McNeil now coming out of the ball game as the Jets go to their tough guys, short yardage offense. They like to go with Johnny Hector and Roger Vick. They're 2 big backs. And without a 3rd tight end, Nicky Schuler not in there tonight. They'll bring in another offensive lineman to play where Schuler ordinarily would be. And this is Hector, where he has the great leaping ability, but that
goes in for the touchdown.
Good drive by the New York Jets.
From the 3-yard line. Remember, it started after that Humphrey run back, tackle back at the 3, and they go 97 yards and have a chance to tie the game on an extra point by Leahy.
It's an excellent drive, Al and Frank, because it's 97 yards. But again, keep in mind, it came on the heels of a Raiders score. So you not only go all the yardage, but you counter the first touchdown of the game by the Raiders. And solid work there by the left side of the Jet line. That time it's Criswell, Hayton, Sweeney that get it done.
Pat Leahy, who is establishing a Jet record tonight, playing in his 208th game as a New York Jet. Pat Leahy boots it to the 6. Tim Ware brings it back to the 21-yard line. Penalty.
Well, we've seen some flags on the kicking game tonight. Seem to run in spurts. You'll go a game or two without a lot of them, and then a game like this, it seems that every other play in the kicking scheme ends up with some sort of a penalty.
Against the Raiders. They'll push him back.
One thing Arthur appears to be doing is keeping his emotions in check.
Holding number 88 on the run back. 1st down.
Art appears to have the temperament of a head coach on the sideline. Here he's going to greet one of his players on the sideline.
After the penalty on the run back, the Raiders start at their own 11-yard line. 5:20 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Now this happened to the Raiders the last time, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. Remember, they had the return all the way out to the 40, came back to their 7-yard line, and ended up with a touchdown drive. Let's see if they can do it again. And this audience here at the Meadowlands, the Jet crowd is finally into the game.
Raiders win 93, Jets win 97. Now LA tries to go 89. 1st and 10 from the 11. Marcus Allen takes it to the 15-yard line, a gain of 4. Goodyear Blimp America floating high above Giant Stadium. We're about 8 miles as the Zeppelin flies from Midtown Manhattan.
Beautiful night. Temperature is expected to drop down close to freezing in this area. It's getting on towards winter. Whatever happened to our end in summer? Yeah.
2nd and 6 from the 15-yard line. Marcus Allen takes it out to the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 1.5 yards.
I don't know if it's by design with the Raiders or what, but Eric McMillan hasn't been around the ball a lot tonight. I wonder if it's the fact that the Raiders are intentionally staying away from the second-year free safety, who's off to another great start. 3 interceptions so far this year. Had a 92-yard interception return last week for a touchdown. Who beat the old Jet record held by, we ought to have a halftime trivia one on this, Wayne Fonts, the coach of the Detroit Lions, who ran an 83-yard interception back for a touchdown against whomever, I don't know. But that was with the old New York Titans, and I don't think he got it.
Vance Mueller well short. 3rd and a long yard, and he doesn't come close.
Now, Wayne Fonts returned an interception, 83 yards for a touchdown. Was he thinner then?
You would hope.
Well, you know, that has to bother an Art Shell, who, the great Hall of Fame offensive lineman, when you have 3rd and short and you can't hammer it over. They tried the left side where he used to work with Gene Upshaw. Seldom, if ever, did they come up short.
Jeff Gossick's kick taken by Townsell at the 43-yard line. Gets an initial block and then goes down at the 50. So the Jets have the football at midfield. 37-yard punt. We're back 5 weeks into the season. Guys, enjoy Buffalo next week as the LA Rams, the only unbeaten team in the NFL, takes on the Bills next Monday night.
We'll be enjoying your coverage of the World Series.
We'll start that on Saturday night. But the Rams picking up where a lot of people thought they would after finishing so strong last year.
Even with that great 5-0 start, though, the 49ers are still right behind them, and it's going to be a hotly contested division there in the NFC West, although, boy, it's been a disappointing start for New Orleans.
Raymond McNeil from the 49 of the Raiders takes it to the 45. I guess the key with the 49ers is to keep them on the road. 4-0 away and 0-1 at Candlestick.
You know, Dan was talking about the angry words that are being thrown around the National Football League. It would be nice to be a fly on the wall this week at the owners' meeting when they settle down and they try to pick a commissioner out of what are there, 4 eligible now? They've got in the running. Jim Finks, Paul Tagliabue, the longtime attorney, Willie Davis, Kathy Barrett. Very interesting.
2nd and 6 from the 45-yard line, and Griggs can't one-hand it. It'll be 3rd down and 6. That meeting starts tomorrow in Dallas.
Pat Bowlen, the owner of the Denver Broncos, has already been quite vocal in saying that he really doesn't expect these meetings to produce a commissioner. Remember last week before the game, we were talking Norman Brayman, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he kind of echoed the same sentiments that he didn't expect a commissioner to come out of this meeting, and yet it sure would be nice if they could make some progress. If they can't come out with a commissioner, at least come out with some concrete game plan as to how and when they will elect one.
I would think there's a good chance of that happening.
But again, better to be slow and right than fast and wrong.
3rd and 6, and wrapped up in the backfield is Freeman McNeil by Scott Davis, #1 draft choice last year out of the University of Illinois.
You know, so many things are on hold in the National Football League. Pete Rozelle, of course, is still there. He could take action, but I'm sure he's not doing it in many cases because he doesn't want to saddle the new commissioner with any decision on his part. And meanwhile, Austin, our talk about the commissioner was a dismal offensive series by the New York Jets, getting the ball on the Raiders' side of the field and doing absolutely nothing with it.
And follows a dismal offensive series by the Raiders, who on 3rd and 1.5 yards couldn't convert. Thus each team gives it back as Prokop's kick is taken at the 17-yard line. Fair caught by Bobby Joe Edmonds. And the Raiders will take over there with 1:59 to play in the 3rd quarter.
That, of course, would have been perhaps Tim Brown, and we talked earlier about Tim Brown hurting his knee in the opening game. Surgery, could be back this season, probably not. Well, Bobby Joe Edmonds did some fine return work early in his career with Seattle.
And the funny thing was, they looked at him in the Detroit camp, and they released him.
And then the Raiders had to pick him up when Brown got hurt. L.A. from the 17. Marcus Allen. And out of bounds at the 32-yard line. A first down for the one-time Heisman Trophy winner out of the University of Southern California. From the 33-yard line. And this is Kerry Porter. His first carry of the night out to the 44-yard line. Pretty good-looking running back out of Washington State, 6'1", 220-pounder. 12-yard pickup. There he is. But the problem is when Bo gets there, what do you do with Kerry Porter?
12-yard gain.
We asked Art Shell last night about what he planned to do, and he said he would face that when it came up, and that could come up as early as next week because Bo is expected to report. And Art said he'd sit down and deal with it when it happened.
But it's going to be a couple of weeks before Jackson's in a position to be an everyday player, an every down player from the backfield formation. He may be able to come in and maybe be productive for 10 or 12 plays right off the bat, but it's going to take a little bit before he's in there on every down.
Will you ever forget that magical night in Seattle?
That was some burst up the sideline, wasn't it?
93 yards.
Kenny Easley had the angle, and by the time he got there, Bo was 4 yards gone.
Second down and 7 after a 3-yard gain by Porter. 40 seconds to go in the quarter. Vance Mueller is now in the game alongside Marcus Allen. Mueller turns the corner, and James Hasty runs it out of bounds near the first down marker.
Oddly enough, the Raiders are able to run the ball when the Jets defensively are much better against the run than they are the pass. We talked about it earlier, last in the league defending against the pass, and yet the Raiders are attacking their defense with the run where they were 5th in the NFL against the run.
Well, one thing about it, when Mike Shanahan was the coach, you knew that he was really a pass-oriented type of coach. With Art Shell, I don't think there's any mistake how he would like to see the Raiders earn their money, and that's running the football. Nothing fancy, the old slants off tackle. I don't think there's any doubt that that's what the big guy would like to see.
Well, they came up short last time running on 3rd and short. Here it's 3rd down and 2. Play clock was all the way down, and it cost them. It's a delay.
And Galt, I think, also, top of your screen, was offside.
Well, he was trying to go, but I'm afraid the clock expired even before Galt took off.
False start. 63 offense. Still 3rd down.
You can take your pick on that one because the clock was down to 0.
Well, I'd like to know how he gets John Giesick to left guard when Willie Galt was long gone. Safe to say that Jay Schrader just allowed the game clock to get too close, forcing the rhythm of the Raiders to get totally messed up. We had receivers leaving early, linemen rocking back in their stance, all to try to avoid a penalty that they ended up taking anyway.
3rd down and 7. Good protection and going deep for Alexander, and picked off by McMillan. His 12th career interception. And the son of one-time Cardinal Ernie McMillan takes it to the 30, the 35, and is out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
And I'm going to tell you right now what happened there, guys. Mike Alexander, for whatever reason, gave up on his pattern. He was going to run a fly and then a move to the inside and then back to the fly again. And for some reason, he just stops. Now watch him working one-on-one here with James Hasty. Now Hasty's giving him lots of room. But right here, Alexander just stops. I mean, he really slows down. And if he stays in full stride, he's down in the vicinity of the football.
And here comes McMillan, his 4th interception this year. Last week, he took one back 92 yards against Indianapolis, and Pro Bowler a year ago, and as Al mentioned, the son of a great one that you know so well, and Ernie McMillan.
Well, this has been, I'll wait till O'Brien's done here.
From the 45-yard line, he hits Burkett, and he's out of bounds about 2 yards short of the first down at the 47.
I mean, this has been my year to watch sons of former teammates
We just saw what
names too, Eric.
Yeah, we just saw what Eric McMillan did here with his 4th interception of the year, and then earlier this season we saw the Browns and the Bengals, and Eric Metcalf, the son of Terry Metcalf, another one of my teammates, and of course Ernie and Terry Metcalf were teammates together. Wow.
Second.
We didn't win many ball games, but man, they were sure fathering some great sons.
Good bloodline. 2nd and 2 and a first down on the final play of the quarter. Johnny Hector to the 41-yard line, stopped by Mike Harden, and so each team scores a touchdown in the third. Start the 4th quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Beardorf. Game tied 7-7. It's 1st and 10 for the Jets. It's a Raider 41, and a fumble, loose ball, and O'Brien himself is the man who recovers at the 42-yard line after Vick had coughed it up. No pun intended.
Coughed it up. Vick coughed it. Boy, that was some effort by Kenny O'Brien. Talk about being alert. Roger Vick never even got it. It was put in the proper position.
Mid-ball or straight?
That is really a nice effort by Kenny O'Brien as I attempt to remain the only straight guy in the booth there as these two are doing stand-up comedy.
For the first time all year you'll attempt it, right?
It's on his way to Buffalo.
2nd and 11.
What were you alluding to?
And O'Brien throwing against the grain for Burkett. 3rd down and 11 for the Jets now from the 43-yard line. Fake draw. And then O'Brien slings one intended for Townsell and a little too high for him. 4th down. Covering on the play was McDaniel, and the Jets will have to kick from midfield.
I think the Jets got the coverage they were looking for, and Townsell makes the break. He is open, and that ball from Kenny O'Brien was a little high and a little out front. That's what the Jets were looking for. Good call from upstairs and well executed except for the throw.
Joe Prokop, left-footed kick. Will bounce at the 8-yard line, take a Raider bounce, and is down at the 10 by Ken Rose. Here are the Raiders now from the 10-yard line, and straight up the middle goes Smith, and a flag is down.
Your basic hold flag. Just for Rory Graves' sake, I hope it's not on him. He has had as difficult a start of the season that any tackle could have in terms of number of penalty flags, and I'm sincerely hoping it's not on you, young man.
Holding 67 offense. Still first down.
Dan Turk.
Dan Turk, the center, who's filling in for Don Mosbar, the regular center and one of the better offensive linemen in the league.
In the old days, Raider football would be for a Saber to drop back, Jim Plunkett to drop back and just fire one deep to one of those outside receivers.
1st and 15 from the 5-yard line.
Whatever it is, it's being changed at the line of scrimmage by Schrader, and he better hurry.
Play clock is down to 7. And Schrader throws, and even though there was a flag, but it looked like, to me, Gold ran into the defender. A late flag, a flag nonetheless.
No, that's interference all the way. You got to call James Hasty on that. Willie Galt makes his break to the inside, and Hasty comes up and just drops him.
Question is, was it a catchable pass? And that's the reason for the conference right now.
And that's almost impossible to tell from up in the press box. That's a ground level call as to whether or not it's catchable.
Hasty did collide, but I think it was respect for Galt's speed that made him drive in on Galt. I mean, that's questionable. And I think they're going to bring it back.
There's no flag. Yeah. The pass was uncatchable.
Exactly.
Okay, well, there's no question that if the ball was catchable, that would have been interference. James Hasty came in and hit him from behind. Kyle Clifton, meanwhile, is putting the pressure on Jay Schrader. Wisely pulls off and doesn't pick up a flag. And I think Mr. Shell is saying that ball looked awful catchable to me. And frankly, I don't blame him. I think that was a penalty. I think that ball was close enough that it's impossible to say that it wasn't catchable.
2nd and 15 from the 5-yard line. Schrader, and incomplete, intended for Steve Smith, who was in a lot of traffic in amongst the linebackers, including Benson.
Credit Jeff Logman, the rookie #1 draft pick, who dropped deep into the pass defense and took away Willie Gault. That's where Schrader wanted to go, and he had to check it off, and it was incomplete. Here he is with his checkoff man, getting it to Smith, and
excellent coverage there by Benson. Very, very good.
So the linebackers, Benson and Logman, doing a good job for the Jets.
3rd and 15 from the 5. And they keep it on the ground, and Marcus Allen can only get to the 10-yard line. He is stopped by Kyle Clifton.
Well, there's one of the ways that the Raiders kind of give an indication as to what they're going to do in a long passing situation like that with only 2 wide receivers. And you see Marcus as he hobbles off the field. Looks like he was caught from the side by Clifton on that tackle. But when you only have 2 wide receivers, you're really allowing the defensive team to concentrate more on what's happening up at the line of scrimmage. And a run like that, I think, is a little less likely to succeed.
Jeff Gossett and the Jets have Harper and Townsell both back, and a fair catch made by Townsell back at the 41-yard line.
Excellent punt.
When we left, you saw Marcus Allen coming off the field, and he was limping, and he took a shot on his right knee. Now watch as he starts to break through the opening, and Kyle Clifton will come in. Look at the right knee as it is hit just as he has all of his weight on it, and they have looked at him on the sidelines. He's walking around, but he does appear to be injured, hopefully just slightly.
And so Bryan on 1st down, hitting Townsell for a 1st down. He gets from his own 42 to the Raider 42 on a gain of 16. So Allen trying to shake it off, and the Jets trying to move downfield.
Well, it's impossible to speculate what did happen, but one thing in Marcus's favor, you could see where even though he took the shot and the knee did flex, as it flexed, he was able to get the foot up off the turf. But boy, it's reminiscent of the shot that we saw Ickey Woods take. And Ickey Woods ended up having surgery, and I'm not speculating that at all.
This is Johnny Hector taking it to the 34-yard line. And I think it'll be 2nd and about 2.
I think back over Marcus Allen's career, I don't think he's ever had a knee injury, and the first time you get one, you don't believe it to begin with. And they have been looking at the knee. They've been checking it to see how tight it is, how loose it is. And obviously Marcus is worried about it. And so too are the trainers and the medical staff of the Raiders.
Jets with a 2nd and a long 1 from just inside the 34-yard line. Burkett in motion. Toss to Vick, and he gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Mike Harden coming up, holding his ground and stopping him short of the 1st down. Other than the strike in 1987, Allen has been remarkably durable. He's missed only 4 games in his career.
That last play by the Jets, kind of indicative of what kind of offensive play we've seen from both teams tonight. We've seen some nicely executed plays, and then we see a play like that where Mike Harden, totally unaccounted for, makes a play in the backfield and a play that never had a chance to develop. And really been kind of a herky-jerky offensive game by both teams.
3rd and a short 3. O'Brien protected well, fires too high for Grant, picked off at the 15-yard line by Eddie Anderson. And Anderson still on his feet. Anderson out past the 30,
Look out.
the 40. O'Brien can't catch him. Eddie Anderson on the move inside the 20-yard line and all the way for a touchdown. 87 yards. Eddie Anderson getting the start because McElroy is hurt. And he's the man of the hour for the LA Raiders, scoring his first NFL touchdown with 10:05 to play.
give an assist to the Raider pass rush. O'Brien, out of time, had to deliver it before he wanted to, and he was hammered to the turf just as he delivered that ball. He never saw it intercepted.
Keep in mind, though, what we talked about early in the ball game, how it's an unusual year for Kenny O'Brien, having more interceptions than he does touchdown passes.
Jaeger's extra point is good. So last week, the Jets got beat on a punt return by Clarence Verdun, and tonight they now trail on an interception return by Eddie Anderson.
O'Brien does get the pressure from the backside, but it appeared that the ball took off on him. It just sailed, and it was an overthrow. This will be the perfect angle to see it.
Greg Townsend, he's the designated pass rusher for the Raiders, and he just waffled O'Brien as he released the ball, and here comes Anderson. O'Brien got up, got into the pursuit of Anderson, but this was a no-contest affair as Anderson takes it in for his first touchdown. And that was also Reggie McElroy, number 68, giving pursuit, but Anderson takes it all the way. Greg Townsend has all the Raiders sacks into tonight, had them all. Former down lineman, the Raiders converted last year into a linebacker, and they still use him a lot in their four-man alignment. (14-7).
Jaeger to kick off in front of this stunned throng. Taken by Humphrey, who picks it up at the 1-yard line. And again, Humphrey having trouble. But at least this time he's able to run it back to the 13. The last time he fielded it on about the 8 and ran it back to the 3. First and 10, Jets. From the 12, 9:52 to go. Freeman McNeil to the 15-yard line for a gain of a couple. Longest punt return in Raider history, Mike Haynes, the veteran, beg your pardon, interception return. There it is in 1984, 97 yards. Freddie the Hammer Williamson back in 62 when the Raiders were in the AFL. And now Eddie Anderson for the showman.
Freddie, of course, dropped by here at one point in his career.
Brief visit. Second and 8 from the 15. O'Brien throws complete to the 21-yard line. The catch is made by Billy Griggs, but you can see he's about a yard and a half short of the first down.
Jets thus far this season, and it's been kind of a Joe Walton trait. Third and short yardage, they like to go with play action and throw the football.
3rd and 1 from the 22-yard line. And O'Brien, the play fake, nice one-handed catch by Johnny Hector, and a big play for him as he takes it out to the 42-yard line, keeping the drive alive. Run out by Jeff Lee.
Yeah, the Raiders had to know that frequency also, and I'm surprised that he was able to get that open because it is what the Jets like to do on 3rd and short yardage. We look at it as a very high percentage way to get the first down, and they've been able to do it this far during this season. But Boomer Esiason went to East Iceland High School, and that's where Joe Walton's son is performing so well now for East Iceland. Big young man, 6'3". Joe's father was an All-American at Pittsburgh, as was Joe.
1st and 10 from the 43-yard line. O'Brien to the far side. Burkett makes the catch. Short gain, stopped by Washington. Pickup of 3. The clock running, 8:10 to play. Again, each team coming in 1 and 3. Second down, 7 from the 46-yard line. And this is Johnny Hector for a short gain. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Raiders With a victory, the Raiders would be 2 back of Denver. Denver is 4-1 in the West, but the Jets with a victory would pull to within a game in the very tight AFC East.
Well, they pulled to within a game of the Buffalo Bills and the Indianapolis Colts, and the Bills, of course, you got to wonder what the future holds in store for them with an injured Jim Kelly.
3rd down and 6. O'Brien. And the protection breaks down, and Scott Davis sacks him at the 35.
That's a trample job there. Boy, now there's a case of a guy just getting run over. Scott Davis is number 70, who's lined up right here. Take a look at him. And this is what's known, ladies and gentlemen, as the old-fashioned bull rush. Nothing fancy, straight ahead, and he just goes right over the top of Adam Stryber. Doesn't have a chance.
Prokop's kick. A short floater caught at the 36-yard line by Edmonds, and he gets tackled immediately by Carl Howard with 6 minutes and 38 seconds. Well, the Raiders now are trying to take some time off the clock, but they'll have to do it without that man. Marcus Allen with the knee wrapped and done for the night. And the Raiders can only hope only done for the night and not a couple of weeks.
Power football. That's what the Jets are looking for. A good time to go up and over.
Mueller and Porter are the running backs, and this is Mueller cutting inside Porter's block and then tackled by Gordon out at the 40-yard line after a gain of about 5.
If the Jets lose this tonight, they'll be 1-4. The same for the Raiders. But for the Raiders, it would be a little tougher because Denver is off to a 4-1 mark early in the season, while Buffalo and Indianapolis are tied in the AFC East with 3-2.
Denver really giving all the signs of being a totally rejuvenated franchise. They are playing good football.
They went from small, quick to big and powerful, didn't they? Dan Reeves has really gotten some good-sized people there in a hurry.
2nd and 4, and Schrader fires over the middle to a wide-open Mervyn Fernandez, who coughs up the ball, and it's recovered by the Jets, but they're saying no catch. No catch, no fumble.
Might get a look-see, though.
You've got to pull the ball in and get both feet on the ground.
Well, the onus now on Al Sabato, the replay official.
You must get both feet on the ground and in firm possession of the ball. Now, Mervyn Fernandez is going to be hit by James Hasty. There is the hit. And, boy, by the time we see the ball, it's all the way down in the mid-thigh area of Mervyn Fernandez. And keep in mind, the official who made the call was looking right at the ball. He was on the far side of the field. Let's see if we can see it anymore in this angle. But what I've seen so far looks like a good call by the official. Yeah, Mervyn Fernandez doesn't have that ball.
Good little ploy being used by every team in the league now is after a controversial play, they rush to the line of scrimmage to try to preclude another look, but not this time. Time is called.
And there was a look from the far side of the field. The play will stand. Mervyn Fernandez did not have possession of the ball. Of course, that's booed by the Jets, who would have liked a completed catch.
That's the most definitive look, and he obviously never controlled it.
So the ball is at the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
Again, though, Schrader and the Raiders hurt by the receiver's inability to cover up and hold on to the football. A lot of drop passes in tonight's game, especially by the Raiders.
Schrader fires over the middle of Mueller, and he takes it to the 44 of the Jets, and a big 1st down.
It is classic Raider offense of the years gone by. The 3 receivers, Dial, the tight end, Fernandez and Galt, both taking it deep and sending the one back out of the backfield and just letting the quarterback read it.
Crowd quiet now as the Raiders pick up a first down, and again it will take a lot more time off the clock, which is ticking down to the 5-minute mark. LA on top by 7, 1st and 10. The Marcus Allen-less Raiders at the 43-yard line. And they give it to Porter, and he gets tackled at the line of scrimmage by Marty Lyons by the ankle.
Now, you touched on something. Marcus Allen is their man, not only when you want to move the ball offensively looking for points, but when you want to control it. He is a power runner, can take it inside and outside, and he works so well on the short, high percentage stuff out of the backfield, and he is looking on and looking very concerned himself on the sidelines about that knee. Again, I don't think he's ever suffered any injury. Remarkably durable and a great college career at USC and through his 7 years plus here with the Raiders.
2nd and 9 from the 43-yard line. Schrader taking as much time as he can off the play clock, which is now down to 3-2. They get the play off, and Mueller goes nowhere. Gets turned back by Gordon with an assist from Lagerman. 3rd and long.
Well, this is a drive for the Raiders that can be measured in success not only by points, but by first downs. And they have been chewing up both some field and some clock.
Try to get something high percentage and let the run take care of the rest of it.
3rd down and 14. Schrader out of the pocket and almost across the line of scrimmage, and then throws. And the catch is made by Mike Alexander, but he is a little short of the first down. Somehow, some way, Schrader able to get the ball in there between the defender and the sideline, but short of the first down.
Good move by Schrader. He knew, even though he could scramble for 7, 8, 9 yards, that he could not get the first down. He waited and waited, and finally was able to deliver the ball. And a super catch by Alexander, both feet in bounds, and it'll give the Raiders a 4th down and 1. Major decision for head coach Art Shell.
Well, you're inside the 35. If you're thinking field goal, it's a 52-yarder. And the Raiders are going to take a timeout to think this one over. So the first real critical strategic decision to be made here by Art Shell and his staff, with exactly 3 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Situation where it's 4th and 1. They've used their first timeout. And Schrader's coming back out, so they will be going for it.
Well, it's just all a question of what kind of confidence you have in your kicker's leg at a long distance like that. The other thing to keep in mind, a lot of times when a kicker attempts a longer field goal than he normally can handle, a lot of times he kicks that ball low and attempt to power it, and that's where you end up with a blocked field goal, and you'll oftentimes see those return for big plays.
I'm sure that was factored into the thinking.
4th and 1. The play clock is already down to 6 seconds. They have to get it off in a hurry. Unless they're just trying to draw them off, but no, they go for it, and it's close. Steve Smith stumbling, and may have stumbled his way into a first down. They have to get to the 33.5.
Boy, and in that pile right there, I lost sight of Smith altogether. I don't have any idea where they're going to spot this ball.
They're going to spot it only at yardage for the first down. He just stumbled through there and got down close to the 33-yard, and they'll bring it in, but it looks from up here that he hasn't.
He does. And he needed to get to the 33.5, and he took it to the 33, and the clock is down to 2:50 and a first down, a vital one for the Raiders.
I wonder if Art Shell will have a tough time staying away from wanting to run left in situations like that. The subconscious mind might want to tell him, go left, go left, go left.
Took in Hall of Famers over the left side for so many years.
We don't see that very often. That first down by the Raiders has sent some of the Jet faithful scurrying for their cars. Even though the Raiders only lead by 7 points, this has been an impressive drive when they had to keep it.
From the 33-yard line, the Jets are going to be forced to use their timeouts on defense, and Smith takes the ball to the 30-yard line, and timeout New York with 2:16. We'll get a free one, of course, with a 2-minute warning. So Joe Walton, it's funny, the trademark of Walton's teams since he came to the Jets in '83 has been to get off to great starts and then fade at the end. And he can only hope for the reverse this year because the Jets are going to be off to a 1-4 start unless they can pull it off.
As to those credit, this has been a decimated team through injuries. 3 Pro Bowlers, former Pro Bowlers, not seeing action tonight. Well, Altoon did see a little action before he had to leave the game, but Mickey Schuler unable to go at all tonight, and Wesley Walker has been out since the first game of the season.
There it is. You can see the first 5 games in each of Walton's years, good records outside of this year, and they fade away at the end.
"22 players on this team that are 2 years, have 2 years or less experience on the Jets."
2nd down and 7. LA from the 30-yard line. And Smith stopped after a gain of 2. The Jets take another timeout, so they're down to 1, and there's a penalty marker down.
There's a free stoppage of the clock that'll work out for someone. That's a double bonus to the Jets if it happens to go against the Raiders, which it does. So they not only don't have to use one of their timeouts, but some yardage will get assessed against Art Shell's club. There's a who wasn't look.
One of the things that goes with the poise, doesn't it, Dan? At this point, you don't get this holding call.
Holding, 66 offense. Still 2nd down.
Steve
There's
Wright.
no Jet charge timeout.
And as Johnny Greer just told us, no timeout charge. A free one because of the penalty.
Steve Wright is at the top of your screen. You see him lined up at tight end. He's an offensive tackle. Reports in on short yardage. Driving his man to the outside, and we can only assume that his left hand is somewhere around that man's back. Steve Wright, backup tackle, hurts his club.
2nd and 17 after the 10-yard walk-off. And Prater is now forced to go to the air and throws low, intended for Mueller, and that stops the clock with 2:07. So the Jets with 2 timeouts remaining, plus a free one at the 2-minute warning.
The Jets read it right. Lageman was in there on the pass rush along with Marty Lyons, and Prater had to deliver that long before he wanted to. Yeah, but here you had the Raiders had the Jets on the ropes time-wise, in a position to run it out and really force the Jets to use all of their timeouts, even though they were going to get a free one, as you said, out with a 2-minute warning. And boy, what a reversal here. The Jets still have 2 timeouts left. The Raiders here on 3rd down, if they don't convert, are going to have the clock stopped by the 2-minute warning. So the Jets may get the ball back with 2 timeouts remaining.
3rd down, 17 from the 40-yard line. Prater flushed out, looking, throwing long. No Raider is there, and it's 4th down, and that will take us.
With 1:59 to go, the Raiders will punt. The Jets will get the ball back. Jeff Gossett to kick it. JoJo Townsell is back at the 10, and when the Jets get the football, they have 2 timeouts remaining.
More importantly, the Jets will have those 2 timeouts remaining because of the way the Raiders use the clock.
Yeah, the holding call against Wright kind of started a snowballing effect. Then a poorly conceived pass play that ended up being incomplete, stopping the clock, hurt the Raiders as well.
End over end, Townsell fields at the 10-yard line. And out of bounds he goes at the 15. The tackle is made by Mike Dial, and the clock shows 1:51 remaining.
Don't you wish, if you were a Jet, that you had Altoon available? Big, strong, clutch receiver you can throw the high percentage pass to and let him break a tackle and add on a lot of yardage with the ability to run the football. He's unavailable, however. Wesley Walker has been unavailable since the beginning of the season. He's the other deep flying Jet. And of course, Mickey Shula is a guy who could take you downfield with 4 or 5 catches. All unavailable to the Jets.
And thus instead, to the bottom of the screen, you've got Townsell and Burkett and Michael Harper And O'Brien goes the other way for Griggs, but he was well covered with all three receivers to the right. He still, Griggs did, drew double coverage from Lyndon King and Eddie Anderson. Second down.
You know, a novel concept of putting all three receivers to one side, then working the other side of the field, but it doesn't work if the lone receiver to the far side is in double coverage. I mean, that's the type of situation where the QB's got to look at that and come off immediately. Boy, and Joe Walton on the sidelines is saying, Kenny, you can't make that throw. That's not the proper read.
Second and 10 out of the shotgun. The throw underneath to Griggs, and he's tackled by Anderson. That's a first down at the 30. Ball comes loose after the play. Jets conserving their timeouts. They have a pair remaining. First down at the 30.
Howie Long back in the game for the Raiders, trying to put on a pass rush.
And O'Brien looks for the sideline and throws too high, intended for Townsell, and he was blanketed by McDaniel. 1:25 to play.
Good work by the Jets up front. They're giving O'Brien time. They're giving Kenny the time to see the field. The Raiders, by and large, aren't getting off the line of scrimmage.
Second down 10, 1:25 to go. Again, it's Burkett and Harper and Townsell all split right. And O'Brien throws to Griggs over the middle, never had control. Incomplete, covered by Haynes, third down.
This has been a horrible game from a receiver standpoint. We have seen sloppy attempts at receptions by receivers on both clubs. Even Mervin Fernandez, who turns in the big play for the Raiders,
and Marcus
has a couple of drops. Everyone has taken turns. No one's been immune here tonight.
It's a good excuse Griggs because he's not primarily receiver for the Jets. Nevertheless, he is a tight end. That was right in there. Now they're going to have to keep in mind, hey, you're going to have to think first down.
Third and 10, and into traffic. Townsell somehow comes up with the ball at the 47-yard line, tight roping the sideline. In traffic, 17-yard gain, first down, New York.
Well, that was a design pass play. It was a strange one because you had Burkett and Townsell right together. And as a matter of fact, Burkett screened out. There's number 87, screened out a defender for the Raiders. Makes the catch and gets the first down.
Boy, that's a risky pass. A lot of confusion on the sidelines. Keep in mind, when you have two receivers that close to one another, they bring their defenders in that close as well. You had 5 people within a couple yards of the ball.
First and 10 from the 47, and O'Brien throws intended for Griggs, and he was shadowed on the play by Haynes. It'll be second down and 10.
Haynes in his 14th year, and he was right with the receiver all the way.
Second and 10. Second and 10 at the 47-yard line. This is going to be a Jets comeback. It's not going to be viewed by many. This place is 2/3 empty right now.
I've been intrigued by the fact that whatever design Joe Walton has in his pass offense, where he puts 3 men to the one side, up until now he's put them on the short side of the field, the hash mark side of the field, and this way he goes back to the more orthodox setup.
There's still plenty of time with both timeouts.
Second and 10, and the catch is made at the 40-yard line, but the ball comes loose and it's incomplete. Incomplete, intended for Keith Newbert.
He drops it again. I mean, Newbert, I think we're going to see on replay, this was a very catchable ball. Unless someone strips it out, but it sure looked good from here. This will tell us all we need to know. I mean, Kenny O'Brien, I'm afraid, just can't throw it any better than that.
Mike Harden is there, and also defensively was Zepp Lee, former running back at SC.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do as a coach? No wonder Joe Walton has a I could just burst into tears look on his face.
Third down and 10. Fake draw. O'Brien throws, and the catch is made by Burkett at the 34-yard line. A first down. Stopped by Anderson, and the clock was 53 seconds.
Now the difficult ones we can handle.
And timeout called by the Jets, so they've got 1 remaining.
There's the move by Chris Burkett to the sidelines, and another perfect drop by Kenny O'Brien. Lays it right over the top of Terry McDaniel. Dropped it right into the seam, and the Jets right now are basking in the luxury of a couple of timeouts. They just used 1. They have 1 remaining, but again, basking in the luxury of several timeouts that they shouldn't have had if the Raiders are judicious in the way they run out the clock before they turn it over.
And don't commit that penalty.
A holding penalty, then an attempted pass that ends up being incomplete, the 2-minute warning, and where they could have run out the clock, the Jets end up with timeouts left to work with, and now they're threatening to score.
And where the Jets will be able to work now as the Raiders become very conscious to the outside will be up the middle. They'll have to be a very poised Jets ball club. Freeman McNeil would be a likely candidate coming out of the backfield. They'll have to be able to get back and get into the huddle quickly.
1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. O'Brien nearly sacked, stumbling, sacked at the 50-yard line. Of all times to get sacked, Mike Wise and Howie Long.
To longtime Jet fans, it comes as no secret that Kenny O'Brien is not at his best when he's on the move out of the pocket. He is not a good scrambler, and it really showed that time.
They need 24 for the first. They throw it underneath, and the catch is made at the 34-yard line by Council. And the clock is now stopped for the last time by the Jets, so they have no timeouts remaining. 28 seconds. The line of scrimmage is the 34. They have to get to the 23 for a first down. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Boy, what a sack. What a costly sack to Kenny O'Brien and the New York Jets.
Of course, he was flushed out of the pocket, and being right-handed, he was flushed out to the left. Very difficult for him to get off anything that even remotely looked like an attempt to get to a receiver. And as you can say, as Dan said a moment ago, he's not the most agile coming out of the pocket. That's not his strong suit whatsoever. And Howie Long, who has not played that much, actually for the past couple of years, big play.
Stayed active. It was not pretty. Blocked initially at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go, but kept moving. Moved in the right direction.
So the Jets out of timeouts. 3rd down, 11. O'Brien in conference, sending Burkett, Townsell, and McNeil.
Well, they don't have to go to the end zone
right
here. They shouldn't be afraid to get just enough yardage for the first down.
And O'Brien looking for 11 yards and has it. A first down at the 15-yard line. Chris Burkett, but they can't stop the clock. So here they come with a clock ticking down. Raiders taking their time as much as they can. From the 16, O'Brien, and you're allowed to do that without a penalty to stop the clock. Throws it into the ground with 9 seconds.
Well, this should give the Jets 2 plays into the end zone. And they have to go to the end zone. They cannot run a play and get to the ball in time for a second snap. So they have no choice but to go to the end zone, at least on the first play. And then they could probably afford to be short of the end zone on the second one and hope that someone is able to run it in. But this first play right here has to be into the end zone, and it has to be a relatively quick pattern.
Again, 3 receivers, the 3 wideouts, all to the right. From the 15-yard line, O'Brien, flag is down. The pass is much too long.
Oh, that's going to be
8
holding.
yards out of the end zone, and Howie Long involved in the play. The holding call goes against the Jets. The clock is down to 3 seconds. Long was the man who got held. And we'll have 1 play left in the game.
Holding. 79 offense. Still 2nd down.
Mike Haight.
Mike Haight, the left guard. Let's take a look at it. Howie Long with a strong inside rush. And Mike Haight just has the right arm all the way up there and tackles Howie Long. Give Long credit with that strong classic rip move to the inside that he's used for years, and Haight just wasn't ready for it.
Final play of the game.
No secret where they're going with it here.
And O'Brien for the end zone. It is knocked down by Terry McDaniel, and Art Shell has won in his Raider debut.
I think that's a happy man. I wonder why.
An ecstatic man.
He is no longer the first black coach in the NFL. He's just a winning coach right now. Let him savor it for a while.
Just win, baby, is the Raider theme, and that's exactly what he has done.
It weren't pretty, but it's a W. And for the Jets, well, 1-4 is their start, and it is a long way to go.
Al Davis and the Raiders, it'll be a happy charter home. They'll get to L.A. in the wee hours, but they'll get home with a victory. And
Al Davis has returned, as he put it, to Raider football. And we'll see in the days to come, the weeks to come, Al, because we touched that at the very beginning. They beat a 1-3 Jets team, not one of the strongest in the league, and they have a pretty tough schedule down the line. And there is the man who has to be happy tonight. Art Shell, a winner in his very first game as head coach.
And he makes his home debut as a coach against Kansas City next Sunday at the Coliseum. And in fact, in pregame ceremonies, they will officially present him with his Hall of Fame ring next Sunday.
Been a big year, hasn't it?